well. So, what is up, people? Everybody had a good day. I was just watching someone's live, someone called Just the Yogi, so like some quite interesting stuff said on this interview that he had. Something kind of like learning about the whole kind of philosophy on like forgiveness and all that, and that basically forgiveness, people think of it as about forgiving somebody for their sake, but really it's about sort of like letting go of the victim mentality, basically, because it's like perpetuates this kind of narrative in your mind that you're a victim and that it just perpetuates suffering. When we hold on to these things, we attach to these negative experiences. But there's a whole thing with quantum physics and how some say that there's an infinite number of different universes, and there is many of them in which that person never did any of those things to you. So that could be one way to like interpret it, as that by being a victim, by not being a victim and just kind of, we don't keep perpetuating a narrative of that, you know what I mean. But hello, best YouTuber in the world, welcome in. Hello, Syed, how you doing? Welcome in here, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. So just bear with me a second. Hope you all had a good day today. Feel free to ask questions also. If you want to support the channel, there is a PayPal link in my latest long form video, so if you want to check that out. I need to try and get it out on the main page at some point, but hello Lizzie, how you doing? Hope you're well. So yeah, I've just been having some deep thoughts on things, and you know, sort of like questioning the very reality that we live in. Hello Venom Avenge, good to see you, how you doing? Hopefully, is the sound okay? I mean, I should try and come up a little bit closer or something, but people have been saying they've been having some issues with the sound lately over on YouTube, but yeah, I'm alright, thank you Lizzie. Where are you from, by the way, anyway? So yeah, just thinking about, you know, I know you've talked about this, Venom, about you know, kind of shifting into a version of reality that you want, rather than it being based on fear, and you know, like we just kind of come out of that state of fear. Yeah, I don't know what is going on, but no, it's not charging. I don't know what's going on with it, but yeah, I don't know anyway. But yeah, that like I said with hi Lars, how you doing? Hope you well. That, you know, we have these narratives in our mind, like fear-based. Hello, Elle, how you doing? I'm alright, thank you, Lars. How you doing? Hello, Edmund. Good to see you. How you doing? Thank you for the likes, everybody. If anyone's new, hit the subscribe button, follow, and all that. I'm doing fine. Thank you, Elle Waitham, by the way. Yeah, not bad. That's good. Yeah. What's everybody been up to lately? Thank you for subbing, Lizzie. So yeah, are you from the UK? Same as I am. Yeah. So like, been, you know, looking into like quantum physics and stuff, and because like this is, I think, this how science could kind of like bridge the gap between, or like quantum physics is like the bridging the gap between science and spirituality and philosophy and all that kind of stuff, because because it's like, but you went to Norwich, alright, Norwich, I've never been there. Thank you for the heart, me love. What's it like? But yeah, so basically, I don't know if you still have any, but yeah, like quantum physics is kind of like, you could say, the way of science being able to bridge that gap into kind of more metaphysics, if you will, because there are certain findings in that. Hello, Raina, how you doing? Thank you for the rose. In like in quantum physics, that suggests that we live in an observer-dependent reality. So the implications of that is huge. Like, I don't know if people realize how that would change the perception of reality that we're in, because there's a lot of assumptions about this reality, like that somehow the universe just, produced consciousness, but I'm starting to think that just isn't the case. I actually think that it's more likely that it's consciousness that creates everything and not the other way around. Oh, it's nice, is it really? Oh, I don't know. Chicken nuggets, how are you doing? So basically I'm thinking, well, consciousness is basically consciousness is required for, hello Ash, sorry to hear about that, hope you get better soon. You would make a good Wolverine. Yeah, so I've had that before, so it's interesting me having these thoughts, Falcon, because, like watching that, Yogi's live stream, and what I've saw of it anyway, about talking about, they started getting a bit onto like manifestation and stuff like that, and so I've been having some thoughts on that kind of stuff. That, if you want to create a reality, then you have to basically believe that. I'm from the UK, Kate. Nice to meet you. Where are you from, by the way? Hello, Stalwarts. I'm on 2 different platforms right now, so yeah. So what was I saying? So that, if you want to create a certain reality, then you have to make sure you believe that version of reality already exists, which might sound weird. I think we know each other. I don't know. You think we know each other? I'm not too sure, but so yeah, basically that science will say oftentimes things like that. Oh well, it's just randomness and all this kind of stuff, and that random things, and we only have a certain control over certain things. But like, what if we have more control than we believe? Hello, Salman, how you doing? I hope you're well. What if we have more control than we ever thought? Because maybe it's all programs in our minds to think, oh well, about the limits. It's like, for example, I've been even considering that, what if, from your perspective, you never actually die? What if, James, I'm doing fine, thank you, how you doing? What if you never actually die from your perspective, and rather you only die from other people's perspective? So there's this thing called quantum immortality. This suggests that you never actually die. I read that in Little Britain voice, what you mean. What if you never actually die from your perspective? But some might say the danger of that is that, what if aging keeps happening? So there's this idea that, because some people say, oh, there's a biological limit of aging or whatever, but that there could be, say, like some medical breakthrough or something that allows you to keep living. The only problem with that is that, what if it doesn't reverse the aging process, and you continue to perpetually live in an aging state, but kept alive by technology, which doesn't sound so good, does it? So I'm a lady at Top Little Britain. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm 30 years old, but I think if I shaved it off more, probably look a bit younger. But yeah, the beard is definitely giving me a bit more of that kind of mature look, I guess. But yeah, simulation. I actually think I don't think of it as like a computer simulation necessarily, but rather that consciousness creates it. Kind of like you could say it's more like you could say it's a quantum simulation of sorts, if you will. Or your mum's 34. All right, she's not much older than me then. So how old are you then? So yeah, so basically I don't see it as like like a ones and zeros computer simulation. In quantum mechanics, it can be 1 and 0 at the same time. Like you've got this thing called quantum superposition, this idea that something can be in two states at once. This idea that there's all these probability waves until it's observed. There's no definite reality. So that's what happens with like quantum. What they're saying could happen with quantum computing. It could be a lot more powerful, and who knows what the hell it's capable of, because you can see how capable computers are already. Imagine if we have quantum computers. Yeah. Yeah, like quantum computers are like, yeah, that would be crazy if like, it'd be able, I think the AI would be even more, kind of sophisticated, but the thing is, it's like we have to be very careful with these things because you can see how things get misused a lot, and yeah, it's not. Thank you for subbing, Sab. Nice to meet you. How you doing? So we have to really be. So yeah, Kate, if you're still there, yeah, yeah. You said you think you know me, so I don't know if they're just messing around or something, but we have to sort of try to step out of the fear into like faith. I'm not saying you have to believe in a external God or something, but rather in the basically in what you call like in a high vibration, if you will, like think of like universe in terms of like energy, frequency, and vibration. That's what Tesla said. So we have to sort of be able to kind of shift into that higher vibration. So everyone's talking about war right now, Thank you, Pratyush Raj. Everyone's talking about war. Everyone's talking about all this negative stuff, politics, whatever. I'm actually going away from all that kind of stuff because I feel like it's keeping us in a lower vibrational state. And if this is true about quantum jumping and being able to shift timelines into one that is more favorable, then I do not want to give any negative stuff my attention, because all I'm doing is just feeding into that. I'm feeding into a narrative that, so maybe when I was saying we shouldn't sugarcoat things, I mean, maybe I was being a bit harsh, and that I need to kind of shift my mindset into something that's positive, because if we have these narratives in our mind that, oh, like for example, you get all these, you get, I'm not saying all of them, but you get some like people from like different sexes and different races who, will have certain judgments about the other race or sex, which, by thinking that, then all you're going to do is just going to shift into that reality where that is the reality. But you have to sort of not just be looking for red flags. This is what they were saying. Of course, be vigilant and careful, but by assuming red flags everywhere, you're going to see it. This reality seems to confirm what you subconsciously believe. So that's the reality I want to go in, and I know I was being negative before, Falk. I think you was because I was getting into focusing on things that are not within my control, and that's what I'm trying to surrender, is this whole thing of trying to control uncontrollable variables that are, it's just not going to have any relevance to me. And the more I give that attention, then the more it's got hold of me. So, alright, Marwa, how's it going? Hope you're well tonight. I've got 19 on YouTube. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hit that like button. What are you saying in the chat? Hello, Anita. Thank you for the likes. One love, right? Yeah, that's it. Wanderlust. How you doing? Hope you're well tonight. Hit that like, subscribe, and share the live. So, yeah, I like to just research, and kind of also gives me time to ponder things as well. So, yeah, so I try and put my thoughts together and come on live and kind of talk about these things. I've been having some pretty radical thoughts on things that could change how people perceive reality, but it's just a lot of people seem to be quite, whether they're on the scientific side or religious side, that they're going to struggle to accept it, because they have these kind of dogmatic beliefs in a lot of cases, that they believe that their version of reality is true. But I challenge the conventional views on reality, that there's this external world out there. Yeah, shout out Ian Tilling, is it? I challenge that idea that there's a external world out there. That might sound crazy. Hello, Abdul, how you doing? So, because what I mean by that is this observer-dependent reality that I'm talking about, that the world that only exists because we're aware of it. So that means that there is nothing outside of consciousness then. Therefore, an outer world cannot exist. Like, people think that, oh, I see a tree over there. No, you see it in your own mind. Yeah? You see the object in your own mind. You see it in your own consciousness. It's not separate to that. It's not a separate thing. It's within your own consciousness, is how I'm seeing it. Like the screens I'm looking at right now, these are in my own mind. It might look like it's out there, but that's because our brains, or our consciousness, or whatever it's actually not. I don't believe it's the brain causing it. I actually believe the brain is just a way of transmitting consciousness or something. And basically what we see is just in our consciousness. Nothing that actually is outside consciousness. I mean, they've done that with double slit experiment, and how they've found that we live in an observer-dependent reality. So the implications of that could be huge, and it could explain why certain things happen, where people shifted into a different timeline or something, that they that because they believed that they were going to do something, then they actually ended up reality confirmed that to them. So this whole law of assumption thing, it kind of bases a lot off quantum physics, quantum entanglement and all that, and this idea that nothing is separate. Sometimes I wonder if the sun is just a big projector. Interesting. It's interesting how when you look at the sun and moon, they both look to be about the same size. That is something that kind of, well, they'll just say that that's just a mathematical coincidence, that it just happens to appear that way due to perspective. And but what do you guys think? Hi, Golden Skull, how you doing? It's like, then they just happen to be, it's the Earth's moon and the Earth's sun both happen to look about the same size. Consciousness, is it scientific? I would say consciousness is the source of reality. That's my, obviously everyone can have their own opinion. I don't think it's flat. No, I would say that that basically that I think the whole thing of the flat Earth thing is just a trap that people can go down, and it's a rabbit hole. I almost kind of feel like it's put out there to kind of throw people off and have everyone sort of made to look crazy. Basically, oh really, thank you. Well, I've been just having some changes in my perceptions of things, and but this whole thing about shape of the Earth, well, thank you for the follow, Vanessa. I would actually argue that reality has no shape. That is a thought that I've been having about people arguing about the shape of the Earth. Well, what if reality has no shape? It's a constantly morphing thing that we are going through. We're not actually going through it potentially. We might actually just be, like even motion could just be some kind of, just an apparent, function of reality that is just more of a logical kind of, like for example, if you're in a game and from your perspective, like the character's always still, but the surroundings move. That's how you see it. Like say if you're in Minecraft or whatever, and if your like character isn't actually moving, it stays stuck in that same reference point, but the reality moves around. So yeah, what's that? Oh no, that's not good. Flip flop. If animals were not conscious, they would always be asleep. Yeah. Well, yeah, like that. Every animal seems to be conscious, and this is the thing where some people will see animals differently to humans somehow. Like there's some people that see it's like some kind of hierarchy of, they say animals don't have a soul or something like that. It was like, well, why not? Like, why were some animals created to have a soul, but then humans were? It's like that's what some religious people believe, and that's how they justify eating animals. I mean, obviously people can do what they want, but the thing is that it's just odd how, say, for example, one thing that's odd I find is that people eat dog, but yet they won't eat dog, but they'll eat pig or something. Or they'll eat cow. Like, it's just, now obviously some religions don't eat pig, but that they usually do that more for just in terms of like, they believe that they're dirty or something like that. Hello, Luciano, how you doing? But yeah, I would say that that there's no physical reality outside of consciousness. So therefore, arguing over the shape of the Earth is kind of pointless because it's all observer dependent and it's morphing as we, our perspective of things just morph all the time, and it's just we're in this kind of morphic reality that is, it's like we're in a simulation, if you will, but not necessarily in the sense, like I said, like a computer, maybe more in terms of like you could call it like an organic simulation, if you will, like a simulation that consciousness creates. Maybe like a shared dream is one way of looking at it. But basically, yeah, like there's been having some wild thoughts because then it's like you might start to think like, well, if there's no reality outside the mind, and people talk about the speed of light. What if light does not travel? Does light even travel then? Because if it only exists when the observer sees it, then who's to say it actually travels at all? But rather, it just appears. Because, like I said again, that this idea that time and space are just concepts of the mind, and then they were talking about this in Yogi's live about about time and all this kind of stuff, time being an illusion and all that. Like for example, if you go to sleep and you don't have a dream, did 8 hours actually pass, or did time just kind of jump 8 hours? I mean, because from your reality, you didn't actually experience those 8 hours. Like, it would seem as though you just woke up like straight away after falling asleep, because there was nothing, there was no conscious awareness of that time passing. So, thank you for sharing, proper geezer. Well, this is the thing, is that it could be some form of stimulation in the mind, like in terms of not just the mind, but maybe the soul, if you will. Like, people think of the mind as in like the brain, like the. Thank you, Asil. Thank you for the show, whoever that is. So, that the consciousness is, well, some talk about non-local consciousness, but what even is local? Because we're talking about it from the construct of this like concept of distance, like time and space. We talk about different dimensions, but these are all just ways of like understanding the reality that we're in. Like you could say it's a mathematical probability, a physical probability, like it's a measurement, but not something that has any like external reality or something. Oh yeah, what happened to nature dog rounds? I've not seen that for a while. Hopefully nothing bad's happened. Sherba, what's going on? Anyway, thoughts on autism. Well, actually, I'm on the spectrum, but hello, Leah. But the thing is, it's again the whole thing of if you perceive yourself as somebody who's less or whatever because you have it, then that's gonna like things are gonna confirm to you in your reality that. But if you perceive yourself as actually being a gift or something, like you can then, because whatever you focus on will grow, is what I believe. So if you focus on, oh well, actually maybe this is actually a gift. Maybe it's a gift that I have that. Maybe it's a gift that I don't fit in, or something like that. It's like we have to try and shift our perception of things. I'm sorry, I just wanted to let you know. She posted like, what's this? Hang on. Oh, that's shit. That I didn't know about that. Yeah. That's. Oh really? Yeah, I didn't know anything was going on with nature dog realms, but yeah. Well, that's hello T off bros. How you doing? I hope you well. So yeah, well maybe nature dog realms is still alive in another version of reality, perhaps. Like I said, like we have to kind of just try and be hopeful that there's another universe where nature dog realms is still alive or something. Oh, hello Ashu Rathor, how you doing? Because some believe that you can, yeah, Alfie, yes I do. That this whole idea of quantum immortality. Now this is going more theoretical, but this idea that you'll never actually die from your perspective, like there'll be an infinite number of possibilities in the universe where you actually stay alive. So yeah, that's one theory anyway, that you somehow are able to, like, maybe there's some medical advancement or something that suddenly is like the fountain of youth or something, either stopping aging or reversing aging or something, potentially. Yeah. But then I was thinking, what about people that were born in, say, like before medical advancement? So see what it says about that. in terms of like how it would explain that. Oh, it's that. Okay, Sabrina. Right. So basically, so like survival through suboptimal conditions. If quantum immortality holds, a person in the 1800s would not necessarily die from diseases or accidents that were fatal at the time. Infections were before antibiotics. Instead, they would subjectively experience a series of improbable survival events on their consciousness would shift to a reality where they survive the illness, perhaps with long-term health consequences. That's the potential issue with that theory, where basically you could end up with an aging body and stuff like that. Yeah. Some proponents argue that if it is quantumly possible for a body to survive even with advanced unknown medical technology in that timeline, consciousness will continue to exist there. So like, now you could argue that somehow in one reality where maybe like some other life force suddenly comes to the Earth with, you know, like new advancements or something like that, and that could be how you were able to survive indefinitely. Where let's say you was in suboptimal conditions, but then let's say there was some aliens landed or something, something happened. Thank you for the follow, whoever that is. And then that Veronica, I've been to York last weekend for the first time, and it's really nice down. How come you didn't let me know about that? Maybe you could have met me or something. I don't know. Alright, man. I hope everything is fine with you today. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How about you? So yeah, just yeah, talk about all this, like, you know, kind of quantum stuff. Okay, well, when are you coming over again? Yeah. You just didn't, you know, I live in York then? Yeah, because you could have just let me know about that. What did you get up to? Did you like see the York Minster and all that? I'm guessing. Did you go down the Shambles? It's in the street Whitmer Gate. It's quite a funny name, but that's good to hear, Shani. So yeah, just contemplating reality and how basically that this whole interpretation of reality that we have may not be true. That maybe there isn't an outer world, but rather the world is all inner, and it's all an inner experience that we have. I went for my birthday actually, yes, but I didn't expect Shambles to be so busy, haha. Seen that? Oh yeah, oh really? So Illusions Museum, it was fun and boat trip. All right, Illusions Museum. So there's a museum about illusions, he's saying. I thought there was just like, there was a couple of museums. There's a railway museum, and there's the other museum. There's one on the Museum Gardens. Just what's it called? Is it just York Museum? I don't know, but it's I know there's a museum there, but basically we'll talk about illusions and stuff, and however reality may well be an illusion of sorts. That this whole idea of some kind of physical reality could just be an illusion in the mind. It might feel real, but like it could just be because the mind is so advanced that it kind of like tricks us into feeling like it is real. That time and space are just kind of mental constructs potentially. Hello, Sam. but this theory of biocentrism, which challenges, long-held beliefs. But there's a lot of like ancient philosophies that actually kind of support some of these notions. Actually, Mitchell and science has started to kind of slowly catch up, but it's still not caught up yet. A lot of scientists don't really. Peace, I love says, where are you from? I'm from the UK. Where are you from? Nice to meet you. Yeah, that's good to hear, Shani. Hello, Karmic Retribution. Happy Thursday to you. Yeah, are you from Brazil? Or are you peace? I love so. Because this whole thing of like talking about light traveling and such, speed of light and all that, but basically this idea that like light has no independent existence. Without a conscious observer, light does not possess properties like brightness, color, or even speed, according to biocentrism. So the point is that the reality could just be some kind of sophisticated illusion. It's like, who's to say that dreams are any less real than what we have in this reality? We are light. Yeah, well, that's what the thing is, isn't it? That light is a projection of consciousness, I would say. The light that we see, of what we perceive, the brightness of light, it goes back to the double slit experiment. I know it's kind of like cliche at this point, right? Everyone talks about, like, well, not everyone, but some people don't see the implications of it. They just they talk about it kind of like in a sort of, what's the word, like a kind of passive kind of way of like, yeah, you're in the double slit experiment, oh yeah, it's cool, isn't it, observer collapse is a wave particle, wave into a particle and all that, and it's like, but it's like, some people don't seem to kind of grasp that would literally just completely shift the view on reality in terms of this material view on reality, I would say, into a non-materialistic, observer-dependent reality, which there could be some, like, possibly like a renaissance happen, where we go back to more of a kind of, like the ancient philosophies. I actually think that, I don't know if this is possible, but like, with like modernity, we've kind of lost a lot of the ancient wisdom, because everything's become so materialistic now, isn't it? Like, everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses with material wealth, but maybe we're going in the wrong direction, and we should actually be going more into like a state of going inward, because what if there is only an inside? What if the outside doesn't exist? So this whole idea of possessions, like, what is that? That object that you possess is an illusion. It doesn't have any external existence, is what I'm kind of getting at here. And rather, it is just a projection of your own consciousness. Thank you for the heart me, Jade. So, we're holding on to these kind of, like consciousness, like, basically is like, you know what I mean? It's like, it can be a bit hard to explain certain things, but yeah. My country is the UK. Yeah, what country are you in, did you say? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, telepathy. I mean, I'm not sure I believe in, like, telekinesis. I do think there could be some things like biokinesis and stuff like that potentially. There is some evidence of like spooky action at a distance and stuff. Really, I don't know. It's just I think it's not that I'm struggling with words necessarily. I think it's just because as I go more into like more profound kind of topics, there's certain things that it becomes more and more difficult to explain it with a limited vocabulary, if you get me. It's like there are certain things that they're hard to really describe without really thinking about like how to articulate it. It's yeah. Okay, Mr. Young, you have no understanding of who you are racially and ethnically. You don't whatever. I mean, to me, being spiritual is about going beyond the whole race thing. So why are we so obsessed with like heritage or whatever? I mean, that is all just a ego-based thing. What's that? £6.40. You think 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy? Well, if that's the version of reality that you believe to happen, then maybe that's the version of reality that you'll create for yourself. Anyway, to add to the conversation, I think we should go back to trade and bartering. Yeah, we're talking about like in terms of, if we're talking about in terms of things like the system and how the system is designed to keep everybody poor, but you could say that that's only if you believe that reality. This again comes down to the victim mentality. If you think you're a victim of the system, then maybe you are. So capitalism ? Well, I would say that if you believe that capitalism is at fault, then that's the reality that you create for yourself. If we blame external things, then that's what I don't know. I know this is going to sound quite esoteric and but I'm starting to shift my mindset on things, and then doors seem to be starting to open, and you're like, oh, actually, maybe that things aren't so limited. And yeah, there is certain things that are unfortunate. There is, like injustices, there's oppression, but that's not something that we should really focus on. Right, so we're talking about mindset. Help me out, Jamie, I'm lost. Yeah, well, basically I was talking about the reality that we live in as being we were talking a bit about the simulation theory the other day, weren't we? I more see it in terms of consciousness creates the simulation called reality, and that if that's the case, then what we assume to be reality becomes reality, especially on a collective level. Then maybe we can actually make some positive changes happen. That maybe if we all just reject this idea that there's war everywhere and we raise our vibrations, then maybe we can overcome that through spiritual ascension. Again, this is going to sound really weird and new agey, but maybe some of these like people are onto something. You could argue that the system is designed to separate high performers from low performers. I think we've given the system more credit than it deserves. I mean, like, do I have a B-day? No. No, I don't. So, I think that we have to stop, really kind of I think we should just be indifferent to the system and create our own system. We create our own, sort of, not our own system, but like our own perception of it. Often stuck in negative thoughts. Yeah. So mass and projection, what you're talking about. I think they got us stuck because of us looking for validation. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, is that if we're in a state of fear, that we're worried about how we're going to be perceived by others, then that's the reality that we keep on perpetuating. We keep perpetuating that reality of fear and insecurity, instead of looking inwards for internal validation and tell yourself that you are good enough. Because once you start to tell yourself that you are good enough, then the world will reciprocate that feeling back to you. Whether is a reciprocate or just it will mirror that back to you. Like, there's this thing of, if you perceive yourself as ugly, then the world will perceive yourself as ugly. There's this whole thing about self-concept and how, we perceive ourselves is how we, we will get received by others. As in, like, if you see yourself as a loser, then other people will be more likely to see you that way. Hello, Philip. How you doing? I actually just came from listening to similar podcasts and didn't expect this in here positively. Right, yeah, it's good. I mean, I was listening to one on Just a Yogi. It was somebody called, what was she called? Kirsty, what was it? Interesting conversation that they were having on there about Course in Miracles. I mean, it's kind of like I guess it's like a philosophy on life. It could be seen as like a mystic kind of faith, but it's basically, it doesn't like an Abrahamic religion, but what was the person who was live with, but she's like a musician or something. Well, she's done music. Let me find it, but yeah, it was, talking about how music can heal and stuff like that. It was interesting. Let me find it. It was Kirsty Almeida, however it's pronounced. But yeah, it was this. She was talking about her own experiences with trauma and stuff like that, and how forgiveness helped her to kind of let go of that. There's this whole thing in that whole, of Course in Miracles, where it talks about forgiveness and how important it is to let go of grudges and stuff like that. And this whole idea of, instead of changing somebody, you change the perception of somebody. I don't know about that, Tattoo King. I listen to different frequencies often. It's common. There's this whole thing about 432 hertz or something, and it's supposed to be good. There's other ones like 528, and they're supposed to have different purposes in terms of. But yeah, I've heard. Well, there was actually this conspiracy theory. I don't know whether I would believe it or not, but some believe that they changed music to 440 hertz because it was a more destructive frequency. And apparently they've done some experiments on this and found that 440 hertz is less harmonious, a more discordant frequency when they played it to water or something, and it caused a different effect on the water. Again, that's something to look into. I don't know whether to fully believe in that stuff myself, but I try to keep an open mind. But yeah, I do believe frequencies can help, and we're all, the reality is energy, frequency, and vibration. And hello, life, my rules, all one. How you doing? I hope you're well. So basically, now, my thoughts on God and all that, I do not believe that there is a separate God out there, because I don't believe that any of us are really separate. So I'm starting to believe that there is no separation, and that could help people with if you're feeling lonely and all that. That could help to kind of give you a perspective that we're never truly alone, even if it seems like it is. But there is no separation between any of us on a in the terms of metaphysically, we're not separated, but rather that separation is an illusion based on the mind and how we perceive reality. We would perceive physical distance, but what if that physical distance is just how our mind perceives it rather than an objective reality? Like I said, that if nothing exists outside of consciousness, then that's an illusion. So they've actually done, I think they've done experiments on this where they found that two distant objects seem to interact with each other or something, or some call it spooky action at a distance. So that would suggest that there is no separation between those two things. That, basically, I mean, it's a crazy concept, but yeah, it's. But I mean, there was this whole thing about with Einstein and all that, and I think you could say he was kind of getting somewhere with things, but it's like we're starting to kind of go beyond that in terms of like thinking about consciousness as this sort of fundamental to reality, where a lot of like scientists would have believed in materialistic view on things, thinking that materials have some existence outside of being observed, which I don't believe that there is. Dan, I'm doing fine, thank you. How you doing? I don't believe that there is objects have an existence outside of an observer. That basically that thing is just an extension of your awareness, basically, your consciousness. So that would basically suggest that everything is God, in a sense, because it's only part of that consciousness, of that source consciousness. Everything's all just projected out of that source. So yeah, again, this is going to go over a lot of people's heads. They're going to be like, whoa, what are you talking about? But, everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's, has a different understanding of things. So that's just where I am on my journey. But, we're all on our own path. Some people believe in the materialistic view where somehow consciousness seems to just kind of spring out of nowhere with really kind of no proof of such a thing. Because we haven't been able to replicate such a thing. Like, we can't do that ourselves. That they assume that somehow nature can just through evolution or so it's like not something that we can actually, we can't just turn, say, like, can we turn bacteria into like a sentient being or something? I mean, that is the assumption that it just came about through chance, that things just kind of happened just through things getting more complex and whatever. But I would feel like that is a kind of limited understanding of things, that a purely materialistic view on things is just, it kind of misses the bigger picture of things in terms of like, well, why are we aware in the first place? Why are we aware to have these subjective experiences? Like, what is all that about? Why am I here at this particular moment? Because I feel like no scientist has been able to ever really explain that in a way that makes any sense. Why am I here at this particular moment in this body? I just feel like it's just that, basically, that there is an infinite number of realities that are possible, and that this is just the one that we ended up going into, and yeah, but without the conscious observer, then what is it? What is the universe? There can't, if without any observers present, then how can a universe even exist in the way that we think in terms of like light and like the properties of light, the properties of anything, sound, the way that we experience all these things has no existence outside of an observer. It's all just probabilities, mathematical probabilities, that until it's observed doesn't actually it doesn't actually happen. So then people talk about like Big Bang and all that, and everything came from the Big Bang. So maybe there's been a series of events that have happened, like that the universe goes through ebbs and flows potentially, and maybe it goes through periods of expansion and contraction, and like we can't really know for certain. There's all sorts of theories out there that, you know, they talk about red shift, blue shift and all that, but where did this all come from? Some believe that the universe was around way before consciousness ever existed, but how can it really truly be? And it seems like I've kind of like lost a lot of people here, because, you know, not many people seem to really understand these concepts, or maybe even care to understand it. They would rather just kind of be distracted with their bread and circuses, if you will, distracted with football or drama or something like that, because they don't like to ponder deep questions about reality. They'd rather just kind of numb themselves with nonsense. Like they don't want to really face, what the hell are we even doing here? What is this really all about? Because it's okay, thank you, Cosmic. You know, are we more than just this body? Because some scientists seem to want to just believe that we are just a meat suit, but rather, instead of it being that the meat suit is a vehicle for the soul or the spirit. And like, we think that we're just some kind of cosmic accident. What? Yeah, see that one now, Elliot. Are we some kind of cosmic accident? I mean, that's what we're led to believe by science. And then you've got the religious view on things, which is we came from God, that we don't have any evidence of apart from just some kind of hello, Pewter. Nice to meet you. There you go. Oh God. Okay, I'm getting rid of that. Okay. Yeah, nice to have you here, everybody. I don't know, I just seem to, yeah. Like, people would be like, oh, this guy's just kind of crazy. They're probably thinking, a lot of them, you know, but that's the problem, isn't it? I like to think deeply about things. I like to challenge assumptions and question everything, really. I don't like to just believe everything that I'm told without question, because that is it's just, it can just like lead you down the garden path. Like they say, like kind of an open mind can open doors. By opening our minds, we can open up new possibilities. We have to obviously be careful not to be too open-minded that our brains fall out, but we have to be open-minded enough to think things are possible. Instead of thinking impossible, think I'm possible, yeah? Because if we think everything's impossible, then it will be. You'll be creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. So with new perspectives on reality, then we can shift away from victimhood into a state of abundance and gratitude, which then will create more of that. So yeah. Alright, what time are we on now? Nearly 9 o'clock. Right, I think I'm going to restart the line.